All right, are we good? Yeah, let's do it. Okay, okay. So we're talking about things. Now we're starting to talk about, you know, what kind of personal assistance you're looking for, what kind of an attendant you would like to hire, and you need to start thinking about this now.
So we're moving away from the money side of things to the people side of things.
Exactly.
So
yeah, exactly.
It's about hiring things that you need to. This next section is all about what you need to be thinking about.
Exactly.
On the hiring process.
On the hiring process, exactly.
So let's.
Is there a particular kind of person that you're comfortable with? Because it's really about personality, Fernando. You know, and that we're talking about. There's so many people. There's the take charge kind of an attendant. There's the go-getter. There's somebody who's really passive. There's people that are passive aggressive. It's really important to think about the personality that you can handle. So that's the key, right? I mean, if you have a strong personality yourself, you perhaps can handle somebody with a strong personality, right? And you may be able to get a lot out of that person, right? Because you'll be able to communicate effectively. But if you're a passive person yourself and you have a really aggressive person that's working with you, that may not be a good fit. This will come out, of course, in the interviews and stuff, and you'll be able to ask some questions to help you determine that. So what kind of experience do you want your assistants to have? This is an interesting one, and one that we get into a lot of debate about, because there's a lot of pros and cons. So it's interesting to talk to people with disabilities about this, because there's some people that really, if you look at the people that have experience, people talk about, well, this is what I want. Somebody has experience. They know already how to do my personal care. May not require much training. Sometimes they're considered to be very professional, and yet they are professional. Sometimes, of course, they might not be. And may have already the training and the certification and everything already in place. So, experience can be really, really great. Right. And then on the other side, the con maybe is that that person that has experience may want to do things in their own way, right, and their way, because they know maybe better than you because they have experience, right? They may want more pay because they have experience, right? Some may have trouble taking direction, because they have experience. Again, it really goes back to you as a person about what your needs are, right? What about somebody that does not have experience, right? So, somebody that doesn't have experience may not know what to do. I mean, but let's look at the positives first. Sorry, the pros. Sorry. Usually they're willing to learn.
Always take direction.
Looking for experience. Some of them are looking for experience, and that's why they're willing, are wanting to work with you. Willing to start off with perhaps with lower pay, as well, lower rate of pay. And somebody that doesn't have experience may be willing to do most things without questioning you so much, right? Depending upon. The cons, of course, will be, they will require more direction because they've never done it before. That means your ability to train and be able to walk them through. They may need more training, in fact, right? Because they don't have the experience. It may take more of your time, right, as well, because they don't know what they're doing yet, and they're going to have to learn how to do most things.
Learning curve for everybody there.
And they're going to make mistakes. Having said that, somebody that has the experience may make mistakes. Again, it all depends on, I guess, what level of support you need. If you have really special personal needs that are very difficult to train, that you want somebody that just really knows how to do it already, that's when having the experience or getting somebody with a certificate, may be very helpful, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Again, like I said, though, there's pros and cons with all sides. Certificate doesn't always mean that that person is competent at times, right? You know,
so studious person about it. One of the other things, we were talking about personality and such. What about physical aspects of a person?
Very good. And again, some people use lifts.
Yes.
To transfer, and others do physical transfers, right? Pending pivot transfers.
Yes.
So it's kind of really knowing what are, all of those different traits are that are important to you.
Yep.
And so, in my day when I was doing standing transfers, I would always want to hire someone that's a bit taller because if they were taller, the leverage was easier to do the standing transfers, right? And for me, sometimes having a really strong person at that time, Now that I use a lift, that opens many other doors in regards to different kinds of people.
True. Yeah, I was just wondering on the physical side of it, actually having the strength or the leverage or height to do things. Right? It makes a little bit of an impact too. You don't want to be discriminatory in hiring some shorter. I'm not that tall, so.
Yes.
So it's one of those things that sometimes I wonder also on the hiring practice.
Right. And then again, when we talk about what's important to you, is that is it important that someone's a good cook? Is that an important component? The ability to drive. They need to take you to and from certain places.
And those are some of the things that we, on the next slide here, where it's just a bit of an idea of the things that you want to be thinking about. And this is available on our book that's on our website.
Yep.
A very detailed book, and I just took a picture of it, basically. One of the things that Paul and I were speaking about earlier is that there's a big difference of what you want and what you need. So trying to distinguish between the two. There's a lot of things that I want, but there's some things that I really need. So you have to also be truthful with yourself. The absolute must here versus not as important. Those are the things that I equate to as the things that you really want, the nice things, right? So being honest between these particular categories is really, really important also as you're evaluating what you want.
Yeah, because we talked, right, that you're not going to find everything in one person. That is just the real reality.
You might get lucky.
You might get lucky. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I've had some amazing people over the years that have so many different skills and stuff. But, knowing what's most important to you is key. So, these are just some examples, really. Someone that's outgoing, is that important to you, right? Are you yourself a social person and need someone to go out with you to be social with you and help you be social? Or, is an outgoing person not as important because you want to be the social one, not them being the social one, right? So these are things you have to think about. Is tiding important? The whole housekeeping side of things. Is that an essential part for you? And again, we talked about experience. Physical strong, we talked about cooking, and these, depending upon when your shifts are, right, will also depend on the importance, right? So if you're hiring for your afternoon shift and it's dinner time, is that what's most important to you during that time? So does your morning care person need to be a good cleaner and cook?
Yes.
Right? So these are things that you have to think about as you start looking at your schedule. Yet at the same time, really be thinking about trying to manage it all at once, right?
Good point about your schedule, because one of the things that we touch upon later on, another slide, is using the supported lifestyle plan, right? To make those sort of decisions. And I hadn't thought about that, but that's a great point, because, like you said, if you have a 4-hour shift in the evening, there's different things to do in the evening versus the morning.
Exactly.
So it'll be a good point.
And on the list here we have to talk about bench training and stuff, and it may be very important for you if you're on a bench that you want somebody that's got a bit of that experience, right? To do that. And I do want to reiterate the fact that, you know, you don't need to hire someone who's an LPN or anything like that on the CSIL program. It's about what you're most comfortable with, right? So if you're comfortable hiring someone and being able to train them and maybe going through the PROP program, which is the Provincial Respiratory Outreach Program, right, which does a great job on supporting people on ventilators and stuff, I might add. You know, and they can help people that don't have the experience.